cost me 2 months' salary. And there she walks down the aisle with her father. Her father gives her away, and she stands behind me. And the preacher, excuse me, my wife, directing. I don't know if she can't hear me. I don't know if y'all can't hear me at all. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. We were down there, we were standing down, and the little flower girls around, and I looked up, and they were going the wrong way, so I was directing them, and they were there, and the little ring bearer, he was going the wrong way, and I directed him, and Vonda's standing there looking lovely. We go through the ceremony. We're on our knees, praying, and all of a sudden I heard a sob, and I knew Vonda was going to lose it. Just sure as the world, she was going to lose it. And I reached over, and we had had a little saying for her father to pay for a wedding. We were going to sell popcorn and peanuts at the front of the church. I leaned over to her and I said, popcorn and peanuts. Boy, that straightened her right up. We got married and we came down that aisle, and it was wonderful. We went home to the reception. People lined up a block down the street to get in the house for the reception. We got there, and I got upstairs, changing clothes and whatever. I don't know whether they're armed or not, 2 guards up there with all the loot. You've never seen so much loot. And we still have most of it. We don't throw anything away. We still have most of it. But anyway, it was great there. We come down, we clothes change, we get out. We go to this wonderful new motel that's been built on the edge of town. That's where we're going to spend our first night. I didn't trust my brother as best man. I had a best friend, and he took care of it. He took us out in his car out there, and my car was already there. We got to it. The place is called a rail fence. We got there. Everything was wonderful. Well, being a gentleman, I went to the bathroom first. Got all prepared. Went in and got on the bed, like this. She went to the bathroom to get prepared. And I waited. And I waited. And I waited. Finally, I looked up, and out the door she came. Mascara running down her face, tears flowing. She was in a great negligee, sheer and everything else, and it was kind of coming to attractions, you know. And she walked out there, and she was crying, honey, what's wrong? And not going into detail, but we couldn't consummate our marriage that night. She couldn't get everything just worked out. So, we slept, I don't know how we slept together. I never slept with anybody, but we made it anyhow. We had to go home to her house the next morning. And she made an appointment with the doctor. And me, being a wit, you know, that I am, I started saying, her father's name was George, I started saying, George, you can have her back. I'm just like an Indian. I want my 6 ponies back. But I thought maybe I better not do that. I didn't think that was quite the thing to do. Anyway, she went to the doctor and got squared away, came back with the great message, no sex for 3 days. So, we get in the car and we head for Dallas. We're going to Dallas. Now, they didn't have any interstates in those days. I mean, it was all 2-lane traffic, and 1 lane going this way and 1 lane going that way. So it took us a while, and we got to Dallas. It was kind of late in the evening, and they didn't have newsstands like they have now, and their restaurant and the hotels are already closed. So what do? I know 2 mature persons know and can figure out just exactly what they're going to do. First thing we did, we went and got 2-foot-long hot dogs. Got them. And the second thing we did, I found a place that sold comic books. We read comic books and read foot-long hot dogs the second night. Now you think that's not a honeymoon starting? Great. We get up in the morning. We drive. we drive. We stop in a place, and I don't even know where we were, in Louisiana somewhere, or Texas, East Texas, I guess. And hello, honey, how are you? But they did have, we could buy a book. You know, you don't plan on buying books on your honeymoon to read, or I didn't, but we did. I learned. So we had that night. Then the next night we got to Shreveport. Now the third day, consummated our marriage in Shreveport. And I want to tell you something. It was worth the wait. It really was. It was great. So we get to New Orleans. That's where we're going on our honeymoon. She told me not to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. We get to New Orleans, and the next morning after we arrived in New Orleans, I'm still going to the bathroom first, being a gentleman and everything, and I'm in there and I'm shaving and doing this and doing that, and she knocks on the door. Now this is when she used to knock on the door, you know, they don't knock on the door anymore. Anyway, she said, Jack, come here. What's the matter, Vonda? What is it? The wedding was just too much. What do you mean the wedding was too much? Oh, I'm losing my mind. Well, what is it, honey? What happened? She said, I was laying down on the bed, and all of a sudden, the bed's going up and down. Going up and down. And she said, I got out, and I looked under the bed. There's nobody there. Nothing. Come and see if you can hear it. So I go in there in my shorts and lay down, you know, and all of a sudden, sure enough. I said, well, hell, but he's got me too, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, as I was laying there trying to figure out what it was, all of a sudden I heard a train whistle in the far distance. New Orleans is built on a marsh. And when that freight train was going by, those rails were clicking, and it was a train going to bed. Well, we got over that, thank God for that. We go out in the afternoon, we're driving around, we're in a busy street, and all of a sudden, the car starts smoking. I mean, it is smoking, boy, really. Smoking. I find a place to pull over. Before I got it stopped, I looked, and Vonda was a block and a half down the street, out of the car. And what flashed through my mind was, what is this death till we part thing, you know? That doesn't go too good. And I asked her about that. She said, well, you die, and I'll think about it. And that's the way it was there. Wonderful. Great little deal. Oh, just absolutely fabulous. I thought about that too. And there was something else that happened to us. I can't think of what it was. Well, we went to Antoine's. Antoine's very famous restaurant. We had to go there. But we couldn't afford to go at night, so we went in the daytime, noon. The only thing I could think of that I understood what was on the menu was filet de boeuf. I knew what filet de boeuf was. That was steak. Well, that was a mistake to buy the steak, I'll tell you, because that took 2 days' trip. Oh, that steak cost just that much. But they did have little French fried potatoes made into a basket. Of course, you know, when you get a woman in a place like that, man, I mean, they just blossom. She was blossoming and I was shrinking, you know, thinking of the bill I'm going to pay. Anyway, we got through that. And on this honeymoon, I really found Vonda's hot button. I mean, it wasn't sex. It was hot button. You know what it was? Eat! She liked to eat. Oh, I want to tell you something. She does eat. And almost anything. Oh, broccoli and all that jazz, you know, woo-wee. But anyway, we go to another restaurant, La Louisiane. We have lobster thermidor. It sounds like something you'd put in the icebox, but it really isn't. It was great. Lobster thermidor. As we go on to our honeymoon, we go to New Orleans. We're driving home. We had a terrible argument. Now, newly married, terrible argument. She wanted to eat her mother's every Sunday. My God, we had a home. We were going to eat in our home. And that was the stupidest thing I've ever said in my life. Finally, she convinced me, and we ate every Sunday. But when we got home that Friday, there had a little thing happen to us. Her dad owned 3 grocery stores. So we went to the main store. He was there. Started gathering food. She got a basket. She put a quarter of a pound of butter or something in there. Her mother would come along and put 3 pounds. She put a small box of Tide. Her mother would put giant size. Anyway, we had 3. Now this is in 1948. We had 3 baskets for 2 of us there. And everything was just wonderful. Of course, you know, she's the daughter of the store owner. He's sitting back there, or sitting up there in front with his big cigar and everything. And her mother and Vonda started with the basket over on the side, started unloading him. He said, Lee, check them out. Checked out the groceries, $102 in 1948. I had $110 in the bank to carry us for 2 months. And we paid for that. She has never, well, her father's dead now, but she never forgave him for that. She just knew she was kicked out. And I never forgave him because I starved to death for 2 months. No, I didn't starve to death. God, we had plenty of food. Just couldn't buy gasoline or anything. Anyway, as we go on, as I think back, what a great joy it's been. And I wish I had time to carry you on through the 65 years, because it gets better as it goes along. Now, we do have one other thing we identify by. We did this when we were forming people. It's a little song, and she's not going to like it, but I'm going to sing it, and I'll probably go over time. That's all right. We don't care. Our little song is, wherever we go, whatever we do, we're going to go through it together. We may not go far, but sure as a star. Wherever we are, we're together. Wherever I go, she goes. Wherever she goes, I go. No fear, no fight, no fuss, and no egos. Amigos together. Through thick and through thin, all out or all in. And whether it's win, place, or show, it's you for me and me for you. We'll muddle through whatever we do. Together, I said together, wherever we go. Mr. Toastmaster.
Allow 2 minutes for you back.